Hey, what's going on, guys? I know it's been a while since I uploaded a video about the G35, but figured I'd give you a quick update. I really didn't do a how-to on getting the engine and transmission in because it's pretty straightforward, cut and dry, but there are some things that you might want to know about doing this swap as far as the manifolds and stuff like that. So I wound up getting myself a 4th gen 4.8. Now I wanted to go with the 5.3 or the 6.0, but this kind of fell in my lap. It had a good transmission. It had the 4th gen electronics, which I don't know if you've seen any of the other videos. The 4th gen electronics is what you really want, especially if you're trying to do a CAN bus situation where it talks to the stock Infinity PCM and BCM. That way your TAC module or TAC will work and all that good stuff. Right now, I'm just going to wire it to where the engine runs. I'll have speedometer and things like that, and I have a 4th gen throttle pedal, and I'm gonna mount that down in there and just run the wires for that for now, instead of trying to get the stock G35 throttle pedal to work. It'd just be easier just to bolt that in and make a bracket for it and run the wires to the PCM, which will control the throttle body. Right now I have the Trailblazer SS intake manifold on it, or the 4th gen intake manifold. You find them on trucks. It's got 38-pound injectors, I think, in it. But here's a little bit of the differences and the things you're looking for when you're getting an engine for the G35 swap. You really want to go with the 4th gen stuff as far as trying to get your CAN bus stuff to work. All right, because you need the 58 tooth reluctor wheel and the 4X CAN position sensor. All right, I'm gonna switch you around here in just a second. All right, so what we're looking here is the front of the engine, and when you go to pull your engine from the junkyard, look for this sensor. All right, this is your timing cover, and if you look down, you'll see a CAN position sensor on the front. You really want to have that one because that screams 4th gen. Also, if you get the 4.8 4th gen, it does not come with the active fuel management and stuff like that, and I don't have this bolted down, so I'll show you what I'm talking about. There we go. On the back of your engine, you'll know if it has active fuel management or not, because this is your oil pressure switch or oil pressure sending unit, and on the back here there'll be another plug which controls the active fuel management, which would be under your valley cover. This will be all a valve body for the active fuel management. I really didn't want that, and that was another cool thing about this engine, that it did not have the active fuel management, and it was just a flat plate with the fuel pressure or oil pressure sending unit. As far as the manifolds go, I'm going to show you. I don't have this one in. I'll throw that one in right fast and show you what I had to do there. I'm using the stock manifolds for now because I didn't really want to buy the expensive long tube headers from CX Racing or whatever. I was going to do my own mounts and oil pans and stuff like that, but I kept searching on eBay and Craigslist, and I kept my eyes open, and I wound up finding the CX Racing pan and the mounts and the pan for like 250 bucks. Now if you go on CX Racing, you'll know that those pans and those mounts, or that pan and those mounts, are way more expensive than what I paid for them. I only paid $250 for it. I think I already said that, maybe not, but I paid $250 for everything. It come with a pickup tube and the oil pan. The only thing it didn't come with was the oil filter relocation kit, which is -10 lines off the pan, and usually you'll mount the oil filter somewhere up here on the frame rail. It's real easy to get to, but I'm gonna have to make me some oil lines. That's okay. As far as the wiring goes, I had a really good chuck harness that was already on it, and it wasn't cut, it wasn't hacked up. Every plug was there, the PCM and TCM. Now when you get these out of the junkyard, make sure you get the PCM and the TCM if it has the TCM. Some PCMs, I got to look it up, and I'll put it in here somewhere. The certain PCM has the TCM already in it. Is that right? Yes, I think so. I have to research that, and I'll put it up here on the screen somewhere. But if it's a PCM like this one here, that's an E38 PCM. If it just has the 2 plugs on it, then make sure you get the TCM as well, so they can talk back and forth. And then all you really have to do is unlock or take the VATs off the PCM when you go and get it flashed or get your tune done. And that works out real good. Also, with the 4th gen, you don't have a TAC module if you're running electronic throttle control. TAC module is a box. Let me see. I got a bunch of LS stuff sitting around here. TAC module. Where the hell's the TAC module? TAC module. If you get a 3rd gen with the electronic throttle body, you're going to need to get this as well. And the pigtail going from this inside the cab to the throttle pedal. Or accelerator or pedal positioning sensor. This thing right here. You need the pigtail from this to that TAC module if you're getting a 3rd gen and trying to do it that way. I didn't want to do 3rd gen, and everything I've pulled up until now, and I've got LS parts everywhere, has all been 3rd gen stuff. I got a 5.3 on the stand back there. That's 3rd gen. But where am I at? Oh, transmission. I'm still going with a 4L60E transmission, and if you're running the CX Racing mounts like I did, and you're wanting to go with a automatic 4L60E, just because they're cheap, they're abundant, and I don't know, you can build that transmission fairly cheap, and it'll hold 500-600 horsepower. With that being said, the mounts, when you mount this motor to get the bell housing and everything to clear, you don't use the 3rd hole back like they show on their instructions. All right, let me see if this thing will focus. There we go. You don't use the 3rd hole back. You got to use the very front hole to make that bell housing clear. And I'm going to lift the car up here in just a second so you can see everything. And they're pretty sweet. I mean, build quality is pretty decent. As far as the oil pan, the CX Racing oil pan, as far as the welds around the side and the flanges and the drain bolt, all that looks good, and real nice thick flange on the top where it mounts to the engine. The only thing, when I first saw it, I thought it was kind of janky because they use door hinges as their baffling doors. And at first I was like, oh great, I got some, hacked together crappy oil pan. But once you start looking at it, when they run the bolts in, they TIG a little bit of weld on the back of the bolts, so they won't back out, and they do work well, or they should work well. And at first I thought it was kind of janky, but all the reviews or anything I found on them, they work well. No leak problems, no nothing like that. As far as the crank pulley and water pump, I'm getting an LS2 or a 6.2 crank pulley and water pump. That'll suck all this back a little bit further. This is the truck pulley, and I don't really want that on there. I want everything to sit a little closer, and here's the reason why. With me moving this engine forward for the bell housing to clear, whenever I put just hold the AC compressor for the Infinity G35 compressor up here, these AC lines won't pull out far enough to line it up with this, and I really want to retain the factory air conditioning. So by getting the 6.2 or LS2 crank pulley, sucks it all the way back. All right, now I'm gonna have to move this bracket and run the wires a different way so we don't interfere with the cam position sensor, and that's fine, that's no big deal. So we'll suck this all the way back, that way that compressor won't sit out here, it'll sit further back, and I can hook these lines back up. As far as your power steering lines, all right, you got a bracket down here that holds this power steering and the pressure and return line. I'm going to mount the power steering pump here, okay, and the alternator down there. Probably use a GM alternator just because I already got a plug on my factory harness, and it'll be plug and play, and the PCM will control the voltage regulation. So factory GM alternator, G35 power steering pump, and G35 AC pump. That kind of buttons up everything here. Right now with these mounts, the Trailblazer SS or the newer, let me get this back on here, or the newer truck style intake manifolds will not fit. You see that? That kind of sucks. I really wanted that intake manifold, one, because, well, I already bought it, and two, I've heard a lot of good things about the flow rate. So either I'm gonna have to do a cowl situation on the hood, which I do not want to do, or I'm gonna have to get a different intake manifold. I got a really good truck wiring harness, so in a later video I'm going to show you how I took it apart and how I'm going to run my custom wires back into the factory grommet here and place my PCM in here. Hopefully, I don't know if I have enough room. I may put it here or something, but it doesn't look like I'm going to have enough room. I'm going to use my factory battery location. I was wanting to do all these crazy things, but I started thinking, you know, I might want to use the KISS method. You know, keep it simple, stupid. Just dumb it down, do what needs to be done to get the car going and get it running right. Let's talk about these exhaust manifolds. That one fits, but I had to cut the, where's it at? I had to cut the flange off, right? And these are cast steel, so you can weld a new flange or a bend or whatever. This bend here, I need a 45-degree bend because this was bent out towards the, like that, out towards the inner fender well, and it was hidden, so I cut that off, and I'm going to get a 45-degree to bend it back down that way. All right, and then on the driver's side, yeah, that got a little crazy. I'm going to post some pictures up right about now, and you can see those pictures where I took the factory manifold, and I'm not done. I still got some more welds to do. This didn't penetrate well, so I went ahead and grooved it. I'm going to re-weld that part. But you can see where I turned it down and away from that steering shaft. The steering shaft here. See that steering shaft right there? Yeah. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and put the manifold in and raise the car up, and we'll take a look at it from the bottom side. All right, here we are on the other side. You see the 90-degree turn down that I used earlier? It misses the steering shaft, and then we're going to use a 45 to come back this way and run where the factory exhaust goes. So that's kind of cool there, that we can sit there and make that turn and save a little bit of money. I know we're not going to get a lot of horsepower gains out of that, but for now, you know, as far as budget's concerned, it works. And over here on the passenger side, you can see where that thing kicks out and it starts to go towards this evap line. Now, with this system, I'm not going to be using the evap line, so this line can go away. We may use it, or may leave it cut back here somewhere for a return line if we ever go big horsepower gains or whatever, and we need a pressure return line for feed issues. Now, as far as this is concerned, I'm going to take another 45, weld onto the end of that, and then a V-band clamp there, so we can run off of that down the factory exhaust path. Same thing here. When we do that 45, I'm going to put a V-band clamp there, so we can start building off of that for the factory exhaust path. Now, I did use the 4L60E transmission, which I haven't finished this plate, so do not judge me. I need to fix this hole. As you can see, my marks were a little off. But the cool thing about it is, where the factory crossmember is for the CD09 transmission that comes in the G35s and the automatic transmission that comes, they use these mount points for the crossmember. Look at the transmission crossmember for the 4L60. I mean, it is absolutely perfect. As far as your shift cable, I'm gonna have to notch this out here so the shift cable can run and go back up to the shifter. The stock drive shaft, so far keeping with the budget situation, and I know she's a dirty girl under here, so please don't judge me. Like I said, I don't have a lot of money in this car, but we're trying to bring it back to life, baby steps. So I got the stock drive shaft back in, and we're using the stock center bearing to help with vibration issues and stuff like that, and trying to keep that whole stock situation back here. Obviously, she's a little long, you know, so it's not a situation where you could change out this U-joint and just go with a Chevrolet yoke out of the transmission and hook it up. So what we're gonna have to do is take this flange off here, drop this drive shaft out the way, get our measurements from the end of the seal to the flange itself, and go to the drive shaft shop and have them make us one. Sometimes you can find them online where you can send them the measurements, make, model, and what transmission you're using and what flange you're using. They can make it and just send it to you. Don't want this video to get too long. I was just trying to give you a rundown. Oh, and clearance issue. This is the only clearance issue I see. I already busted that up, but it's okay. I have another one. When we pull this back out, I'm gonna have to do some hammer work here just to clear that. Other than this and this, there really isn't any clearance issues. Look at all the room I have back there for activities. All that space. You know, if I decide to run nitrous, I can hide all the solenoids and stuff, make it look incognito. Here are my dash 10 fittings, or ports for the in and out from my oil filter lines, and they'll come from here up to the front and have a remote location. I think that's about it so far. That's all I've gotten done. Currently I have the stock muffler still under here. I'm probably not going to be running that, as I'm going to bring two pipes back and down. I just got to figure out how I'm going to run them. Thought about buying an eBay kit just for the piping situation, and bring the piping from all the way up there back to here and then wire it off. Or hell, use the whole eBay kit. I don't care. The only modifications I'll have to make to that kit is up here, which those kits are fairly cheap. They already got the bends, they already got the mounts. It's kind of a no-brainer. And like I said, budget-friendly build, right? The stock dipstick tube for the transmission, it all fits. Everything's good. Oh, you can't really see it. Let me see if I can get you up there. See those? That's your pressure in return for your transmission cooler. All right. Those I'll probably run soft lines down and up through this way somewhere, keeping it nice and out of the way of everything. So yeah, oh, that's a good shot of it. Look at those beautiful mounts from CX Racing and oil pans. And I'm really, really excited to see the stock manifolds on there. You know, and looking at this, I might even do to this manifold like I did to that one, to make the bend even smoother there, and bring it from there and go down. Anyways, all right, guys, I hope I didn't ramble too much. Tried to keep it short and just information, but by going fast and trying to just pack it information there, I'm sure I missed something. So if I did and you're curious about something, hit me up in the comments below. I'll do everything I can to answer your comments and questions as quick as possible. As far as the car goes, it's coming along. I'm super motivated now that the engine and transmission is in. I just needed something to light that spark back into me. I was getting a little not depressed, but down and out about the whole situation. But now I'm back. Now the car's back in the shop. That's awesome. Also, I got the 68 Chevrolet C10 with the LS7 swap. I might have mentioned that already in this video. I'm not sure. It's coming back in the shop this week. So I've got to do everything. And that's a full frame off resto mod. It's got some beautiful interior. Kind of questionable about the paint, but I like it, and I think you will too. This is the kind of stuff you're into. Remember, like, subscribe, hit that bell notification icon so you can see updated content as it comes out. Anyways, as always, God bless, be safe, peace.